Hello, and welcome to today's briefing. I'm Dana.
And I'm Matt. We're covering a range of stories today, from politics to entertainment.
Let's start with a significant political development.
That's a big story. What are the details?
President Trump has threatened to raise U.S. tariffs on all cars, trucks, and automotive parts from Canada to 50% starting January 1, 2027. He accused Canada of unfair trade practices and urged companies to build in the U.S. to avoid tariffs.
That's a significant escalation. How did Canada respond to this threat?
The articles don't mention a specific response from Canada, but it does mention that Trump said, "We don't need Canada, they need us."
That's a pretty strong statement. What are the potential implications of such a tariff increase?
It could significantly impact trade between the U.S. and Canada, potentially leading to higher prices for consumers and manufacturers on both sides.
So it could have a ripple effect on the economy. Let's move on to another political story.
The U.S. has removed Syria from its list of state sponsors of terrorism, rescinding a decades-old designation. This move is seen as a step in warming ties between the countries.
What were the reasons behind this decision?
The Trump administration notified Congress of its plan to remove Syria's designation as a state sponsor of terrorism on July 8th. The Treasury Secretary mentioned that this action will help foster additional investment in Syria to promote political and economic stability.
That sounds like a positive development for Syria's economy. Are there any concerns about this move?
The Treasury clarified that removing Syria from the list doesn't change their posture with regards to countering global terrorism.
Okay, got it. So it's not a complete normalization of relations. What's next in our political lineup?
New Zealand's Conservative coalition government plans to introduce legislation to ban children under 16 from using social media. Platforms could face fines of up to 10% of their global revenue for non-compliance.
Wow, that's a bold move. How do the platforms verify users' ages?
The proposed law would require platforms to verify users' ages using measures like account information, facial technology, and digital identity documents.
That's a complex task. Are there any concerns about the bill's passage?
Actually, one of the coalition partners, the New Zealand First Party, said it would not support the bill, so it's uncertain whether it will pass.
That's interesting. Let's shift gears to another story.
The Trump administration is preparing to revoke the visas of up to 200,000 foreigners who have applied for or are seeking asylum status in the U.S. This would be the largest single mass revocation of visas in U.S. history.
That's a huge number. What types of visas are being targeted?
The revocation targets business and tourism visas issued between 2016 and 2026 whose holders have sought asylum or are now seeking asylum.
What are the potential implications of this move?
It could affect many people who have been living and working in the U.S. legally but are now seeking asylum. It could lead to significant disruptions.
Let's move on to another topic.
Oil prices slipped more than $1 a barrel as investors took profits ahead of an expected announcement from Washington about imposing more sanctions on Iran.
How might these sanctions affect oil prices?
The sanctions could further disrupt supplies from the Middle East, potentially driving prices up in the long term, though the initial reaction was a drop in prices.
That's a bit counterintuitive. Why did prices drop initially?
Investors were taking profits ahead of the announcement, which might have caused the initial drop.
Okay, makes sense. What's the latest on Iran's currency?
Iran's rial currency hit a record low as Washington prepares to announce new sanctions. The rial dropped to 2.02 million to the U.S. dollar.
That's a significant devaluation. How does this affect Iran's economy?
The new sanctions are expected to add further pressure on an economy already battered by previous sanctions and an American naval blockade.
Let's discuss some economic ties.
Union Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal urged Japanese companies to double their presence in India this decade to enhance bilateral economic ties.
That's a positive development. What areas is Goyal focusing on?
Goyal's visit to Japan targeted expanded investments across semiconductors, clean energy, and resilient supply chains.
Those are crucial sectors. What about beef prices in the U.S.?
The U.S. is reopening a border crossing in Arizona to cattle from Mexico to help reduce near-record-high beef prices. However, economists doubt this move will significantly impact prices.
Why is that?
The reporting suggests that while the move is part of a broader effort to reduce beef prices, economists don't expect it to make a substantial difference for grocery shoppers. Let's move on to some tech news. Chinese smartphone maker Xiaomi unveiled a new version of its in-house X-Ring handset processor, partnering with TSMC for production. This move aims to strengthen its supply chain and reduce reliance on external chip suppliers.
That's a significant step for Xiaomi. What are the implications of developing its own chip?
It could give Xiaomi more control over its components and potentially improve its competitiveness against rivals like Apple and Samsung.
Let's shift to sports news.
San Francisco 49ers owner Jed York was arrested in Ohio on charges related to prostitution, which were later reduced to misdemeanor disorderly conduct and possessing criminal tools.
That's quite a story. What were the circumstances around his arrest?
York was arrested in East Palestine, Ohio, and later pled no contest to the reduced charges.
What's the latest on the Raiders running back?
Las Vegas Raiders running back Ashton Jaunty suffered an apparent injury during practice, believed to be a sprained ankle. The severity and duration of the injury are still being assessed.
Hopefully it's not too serious. What about Bryden Cars?
England fast bowler Bryden Cars was dropped from the squad for the second test against Pakistan following an incident at a nightclub in Derby.
What happened at the nightclub?
The articles don't provide all the details, but it mentions that Cars was handcuffed by police during the incident.
That's a serious situation. Let's move on to another sports story.
The Houston Astros and general manager Dana Brown mutually agreed to part ways. Brown had been the GM since January 2023, and his contract was set to expire at the end of the season.
What are the reasons behind this decision?
The team announced that the decision was mutual, but the articles don't provide further details on the reasons.
Let's discuss some more sports news.
South African police arrested 4 suspects in connection with the murder of former world champion boxer Zolani Tete, who was shot dead outside his home.
That's a tragic incident. What are the details of the arrests?
The suspects, aged between 22 and 28, were arrested over the weekend. One of them has been formally charged with murder.
Let's move to entertainment news.
Kit Harington will now play Gilderoy Lockhart in Season 2 of HBO's Harry Potter series, replacing Nicholas Hoult. That's an interesting casting change.
What about Anushka Ranjan and Aditya Seal?
Bollywood actors Anushka Ranjan and Aditya Seal have welcomed twin baby girls named Vyra and Mahi.
Congratulations to them. Let's discuss another entertainment story.
Shelley Fabares, known for her roles in The Donna Reed Show and Coach, has died at 82. She also scored a hit with Johnny Angel and starred alongside Elvis Presley.
That's a loss for the entertainment industry. What are some of her notable works?
Fabares starred in several popular TV shows and movies, including 3 Elvis Presley films.
Let's move on to another story.
Akshaya Khanna is set to play a new role in the upcoming film Mahakali as Shukracharya. The makers released a teaser showing his character.
What's the release date for Mahakali?
The film is set to release in January 2027.
Let's discuss some more entertainment news.
A Dutch broadcaster, AVRO TRO's, announced it is boycotting the Eurovision Song Contest for a second year, citing tensions over Israel's involvement and calling it a platform for division.
That's a significant stance. What are the reasons behind this boycott?
The broadcaster feels that the event is no longer neutral due to escalating international conflicts.
Let's move to some other news.
Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis expressed sorrow over the deaths of 3 newborns in a fire at the Amravati District Women's Hospital and announced financial assistance for the families.
That's a tragic incident. What were the circumstances of the fire?
The fire occurred in the neonatal intensive care unit of the hospital. The exact cause isn't specified in the articles.
Let's discuss another story.
The health of King Harald of Norway deteriorated over the weekend, but he is now stable and responding to treatment for a bacterial blood infection.
That's a relief. What is his current condition?
The royal palace said King Harald's condition is stable and he is receiving antibiotics.
Let's move on to another story.
A man suspected of killing 5 people at a rural Oregon home was found dead in Enumclaw, Washington.
That's a tragic incident. What are the details of the homicides?
The bodies of 5 people were found on a rural property outside Portland. The suspect was later found dead.
Let's discuss the final story.
Former Sheriff's Deputy Sean Grayson, convicted in the fatal shooting of Sonia Massey, died died in prison while serving a 20-year sentence. The articles mention his cause of death.
What was the cause of death?
The specific cause of death isn't detailed in the articles, but it confirms that Grayson died in prison.
Well, that concludes our briefing for today. Thanks for keeping me updated, Dana.
Thank you, Matt. It's been a comprehensive coverage of various news stories.
And that's a wrap for today's podcast. Thank you for listening.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.